This learning object is about punctuation. We use capital letters at the beginning of a sentence for names of people and titles and organisations. So for example, Swansea University, both the S and the U are capitalised, but if you've just got university then the U isn't capitalised. For names of countries, cities, rivers, mountains and nations, so for example China and Chinese. For days, months and festivals, and for some acronyms. Full stops are used at the end of sentences and at the end of abbreviations. Commas are used to separate a subordinate clause from the main clause in a sentence. So for example, look at the following sentence. Although the number has increased, comma, there's still a need for expansion. So the main part of the sentence is in before the comma. Commas are also used to separate a non-defining relative clause from the rest of the sentence. So a non-defining relative clause is something that gives you extra information about what you're talking about, but the sentence would still make sense without it. So for example, Swansea, which is situated in South Wales, is the wettest city in Britain. So that sentence would also make sense if you just said Swansea is the wettest city in Britain. So in this case the commas are acting like brackets, bracketing that extra information there. Commas are also used to separate noun phrases from each other and adverbial expressions from the rest of the sentence. So for example, David Cameron, the Prime Minister, gave a speech here last night. They're used to write lists. You will need milk, eggs, butter and flour to make a cake. And they're used to separate connective words from the rest of the sentence. These are words like however, firstly, etc. There has, however, been some improvement recently. Colons are used to show that what follows is an explanation of the first part of the sentence. So the government has made a decision. Then you have the colon, and what follows explains what this decision is. An election will be held next month. They're used before a list of terms. So a number of requirements for the course. The colon demonstrates that this is the next part will show you what these requirements are. Relevant qualifications, payment of fees, and a good standard of English. A semicolon is used to join two independent but subject-related clauses or sentences. So that means the subject in both of those clauses or sentences is the same thing. If we have a look at the example, the car was badly driven. It was also in a poor mechanical condition. It is the car. So the subject in the first clause is the car and the second clause is also the car. Semicolons used to show subgroups or more lengthy items in a list. So in the following list we've got the main exports are as follows: cars, vans, lorries, fruit, vegetables, cereals, rubber, cotton, wool, coal, oil, natural gas. So those items are all grouped according to their category and the semicolons put between them to separate the categories. The apostrophe is used to show possession and it indicates singular or plural. So for example, in the following sentences you've got the girls' bags were on the floor. In the first sentence the apostrophe comes after girl. That shows us that there's only one girl because the apostrophe comes after whoever it belongs to. In the second sentence, the girls' bags were on the floor. We can see that the apostrophe comes after the S, so therefore it's a number of girls, 2, 3 or 4. In informal writing, the apostrophe is also used to show missing letters. So for example, the result isn't available because we can't access the data. This is a use of the apostrophe that you probably won't need to use in your academic writing. Brackets are used to avoid confusion. Dr. James, the head of the department, told Mrs. Smith, the secretary, to cancel his appointments. They're also used in essays and dissertations and assignments to reference sources. And you need to check with your department to see the format of your referencing. Hyphen joins some compound words and also links some prefixes to the second part of the word. So in the examples below we've got long-haired, year-long. So the first two of these are two-part adjectives, and it's usual to use a hyphen if you've got a two-part adjective before a noun. So for example, you talk about a long-haired boy, and it's just used for clarification really. And a year-long holiday. Okay, then got other compound words there: self-control, anti-war, postnatal. The usage of the hyphen, whether it's used or not, changes over time, so it's always a good idea to check what the current usage is. Question marks used after direct questions, and exclamation marks are used to show surprise. It is very unlikely that you'll need to use any exclamation marks in your academic writing.